This is the book of Second Corinthians, chapter 13 and verse 5. It reads, Examine yourselves, whether ye be in the faith. Prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves, that how Yahushua HaMashiach is in you, except ye be reprobates? Shalom, shalom, Akim. Before I begin, I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim B'chakurash. I rise up in honor to my elders and apostles of the great millstone to rule, who teach well with timeless truth and sincerity. All right, peace, blessings, salutations unto the hopeful elect, wa akwat, while listening in truth and sincerity. Hey, I'm the brother Gabaria Allah, coming at you with another lesson, man. And this lesson is entitled, What's Limiting You? Listen up. All right, what's limiting you? Listen up. Because part of being in this ministry is understanding that there are certain limited factors within our walk, certain things that we must overcome. All right, every brother's different. Every brother has their own uh demons that they're more what's the word? More succumb to or more prone to, whether it be you know, maybe it's drinking a lot, maybe it's I don't know, maybe too lustful. All right, maybe something, what I mean, just something. All right, you have to understand that you gotta constantly be on your P's and Q's about that, and constantly examining yourself so that you understand and know what's limiting you, all right? And if you're not constantly doing that, then that little thing, whatever it may be, is gonna go closer and closer because at first it don't seem like it's anything. What I mean? It'll seem like there's no real limiting factor, or it may seem so small to the point where you think it's in your control, but you're not really examining it like that. All right, what tends to happen is that it gets bigger and bigger, so to speak, and it creeps closer and closer to your subconscious. And next thing you're through, you're done, you're in the world. Next thing you know, you're like, what the fuck? How did that happen? You know? So this is the book of Second Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 5. It says, Examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith. Right? Okay, you gotta examine yourself to see what you know you're a part of. Do you understand everything that's about to happen, that's about to come to pass? All right. Do you understand that there are certain things that you have to get rid of, certain things that you have to sacrifice, whether it be women, whether it be, certain hobbies that you enjoy that may be taking time out of the truth. Me, I love doing a lot of things, man. I love boxing, I love drawing, all right. I love, staying active, all right. But sometimes in the day, you don't have time for all those hobbies. Sometimes, maybe throughout the week I'll be able to draw once, or I'll be able to draw twice out of the week, okay? Because that's something that I love to do, but it's not going to distract me from this ministry. All right? If I get home from work and I still haven't made a lesson, all right? Do you, it's not wise for me to draw and say, "Nah, I'll just make a lesson tomorrow." Okay? Because the scriptures say, well, what procrastinate not day to day, you know? It says, "Examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith." Prove your own selves, right? We have to prove our own selves. That's why the scriptures say, what? Study to show thyself approved. All right. The Lord is going to put certain, or let me not say that, but there's going to be certain distractions in your walk. Okay. There's going to be certain things that the Lord wants to see you overcome. Okay. I'll say that. The Lord wants to see you overcome certain obstacles, certain things. All right. You may have a good job, man. You may be paying a lot of money. All right. If it's taken away from your time in the truth, the Lord's going to see if you're willing to make that sacrifice. Because if you're not willing to make that sacrifice, how the hell are you going to sacrifice your own life for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai? How are you going to sacrifice everything for Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai if you can't sacrifice a simple job? If you don't have faith that the Lord can give you another job. Alright? It says, Know ye not your own selves? how that Yahushua HaMashiach is in you, except ye be reprobates. Right? You gotta understand that the Lord is in you. All right, the same power that created the universe. All right, the same power that's able to stop time, that's able to make anything and everything happen. All right, even King Solomon mentioned this a bunch of times. He said, "The heaven of heavens cannot contain thee." You know, speaking of his house. So if the heaven of heavens cannot contain the Heavenly Father, because the Heavenly Father made the heavens, He made everything, why are you putting Him in a box? Why are you saying, "Oh no, I need this job," or I need to do this, or I need to do that"? You know what you need to be doing is getting off your ass and stop making excuses, man. That's what you not need to be doing. All right? What makes you think that say you haven't done anything for the Lord today? What the fuck makes you think that it's okay to slack off and do something? The Lord should be on your mind 24/7. You see, it shouldn't be a burden for you to do so. It shouldn't be a burden. It shouldn't be something that you look at and say, "Oh shit, I gotta do this." No, it should be okay. I get to do this. All right. It should be something that you love to do. You should love to study. Okay. And yeah, I understand. There's gonna be some days where you're tired. There's gonna be some days where it's a little bit harder, but you gotta push past that, man. Okay. You gotta push past that. It says, verse 6, but I trust that ye shall know that we are not all reprobates. Now I want to grab this in the NLT. Okay, because it's very important for brothers to really examine yourselves and know what's limiting you. All right, what is something that you can see that is limiting you? Because when you're constantly examining yourself, it becomes very evident. It becomes very evident that you can know and you can tell, like, okay, I'm putting too much time into this. I need to step back from this a little bit. I need to step back from this a little bit. All right, I know a lot of brothers love the gym. Shit, I'm one of them. I love the gym. I like going to the gym. All right, but if 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 uh if it comes to a time where I'm spending too much time in the gym, which that shouldn't really be a thing. I don't think any brother's really spending too much time in the gym. But if it comes to a point where you start going like on the Sabbath or something like that, and you through, man, you gotta pray. You gotta pray for that, and you gotta really examine yourself to see what you're putting in front of the Lord, man. And it really should be nothing. All right. Now, I'm going to grab 2 Corinthians chapter 13. All right. Let me see. I'll start at verse 4. In the NLT, 2 Corinthians 13 and 4. Although he was crucified in weakness, he now lives by the power of the Most High Yahweh. We too are weak, just as Hamashiach was. But when we deal with you, we will be alive. Slack you. But when we deal with you, we will be alive with him and we'll have the Most High's power. Exactly. And that's what we're striving for. Okay. Because this flesh is weak. All right. It's not referring to Yahweh spirit. Okay. Because even Yahweh he was still strong. Of course, Yahweh was strong mentally. That's what made him so powerful. Yahweh spirit, his unbreakable will. All right. And we got to be just like Yahweh man. We got to look up to Big Bro. You see? Because this flesh perishes, this flesh is weak, man. These are chambers of darkness, and to see how weak these fleshes, and hey, call Allah Yahweh Ba'ashem Al Shah 144 on the license plate right now. But to see how the flesh is so weak that even Yahweh Shai's mortal body it had died, all right. But we saw what Yahweh Shai overcome the flesh. You see. Now it says, verse 5, examine yourselves to see if your faith is genuine. Test yourselves. Surely you know that Yahushua HaMashiach is in you. If not, you have failed the test of genuine faith. Exactly, because you gotta have faith that the Lord is in you. You gotta have faith that the Lord is really dealing with you, man. You gotta have faith that you can really be a part of that number. You gotta have faith and put yourself on as the elect, man. You gotta say, if the Lord is dealing with me, or if I am really of that elect, then I know what I got to do. Because guess what? There ain't no fucking choice, man. All right? We are subjected to this. Okay? We are tied to this. We have a deep bond with this because there's really nothing else for us. The Lord put us in here to do what we have to do, man. We are subjected to this ministry. And you know what? That's the most beautiful thing ever, man. Being subjected to the ministry of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. That's the best place you can be in. All right? It says, as you test yourselves, I hope you will recognize that we have not failed the test of apostolic authority. All right? Now, I want to grab, let me see, because it's very important, man, to get this message across. You see, because we have to test ourselves daily, man. You have to ask yourself and you have to examine what it is that is limiting you. Okay? It can be anything. Anything and everything is a limiting factor when it comes to this world, man. And you have to understand that. You have to understand that this flesh is weak. You have to truly understand that nothing in this world is really beneficial like that. Nothing in this world, man. Yeah, it'll give you little benefits, but even then, those benefits are just for worldly things. If you have a good job, what does that get you? It don't, you know, stack up treasures in heaven. Of course, if you're using the money, to give alms and, you're doing it in sincerity, then sure. But being at that job physically, okay, that doesn't, and getting that paycheck physically does not give you treasures in heaven. It's what you do with that. And what you do with the money proves to the Lord that your faith is genuine. You see how that works? You see? And what's the most valuable asset that the Lord is looking for? It's your time. Because you can't get time back. You see, but we understand and we're on a deeper level that we know Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is going to eventually give us all of time, all of eternity, to be rulers. You see? Now I want to grab the book of First Corinthians again. Slakia, not again. I got Second Corinthians. First Corinthians 5 and let me see. I'll start at verse. I'll start at verse 6. Your glorying is not good. Know ye not that a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump? Exactly. You see? Even just a little bit. That's where you gotta constantly examine yourself, man. Even a little bit. That's why I gave that analogy. Salaki, I got a phone call. But right, like I said, if even just a little bit, if even just a little bit of that leaven, all right, if you're not constantly examining it and constantly purging stuff out, okay, if you're constantly, you know, just allowing shit to slide, all right, it eventually it's gonna stack up too much to the point where the Lord is not having a problem with you. All right, the Lord is not having a problem with you because you're not examining yourself as He said. You're not doing the things necessary. You're not sacrificing things. All right. If you're constantly letting shit slide, if you're constantly letting this flesh slide for shit, all right, maybe you was tired yesterday. Okay, now you're tired today. If you're gonna let that shit slide, next thing you know, those 2 days a week, they turn into what? What's 2 times 4? That's 8. Now that's a whole week of not doing anything for the Lord, just in 2 days of the week. All right, times that by what? You do that for four. Uh, uh, you do that for 4 months. That's what? That's shit, man. That's a long time. Even just one day. All right, just one day. If you don't do anything for the Lord one day, hey, there's something wrong there, bro. If you haven't thought about the Lord at all for one full day, there's something seriously wrong, bro. All right, and I'm not talking about, oh, you weren't able to make a lesson. No, I'm talking about if you didn't even think about the Lord, if you didn't study for the Lord, if you didn't put a prayer up to the Lord, Yo, there's something deeply wrong. Even for one day, that's too long. Shit, half a day is too fucking long, man. The Lord should be on your mind the first thing you wake up. And I know, brothers, I know that's where brothers is at, man. Because we are too far in the fucking game for you to be bullshitting around, man. For you to be not thinking about the Lord the first thing in the morning. All right? Yeah, sometimes you may wake up, reach for your phone or whatever, but the Lord is still in your mind, though. All right? The Lord is still in your mind. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'm not gonna lie, man. Sometimes I'll get on myself because I be on my phone and the first thing I go through is TikTok or fucking, Instagram. I gotta cut that shit out too, man. Because they'll be, it's not every day thing, but still, like I mentioned, even one day out of the week, then it turns into 2 days out of the week. Then it turns to 3 days out of the week. You know what I mean? That's no. That's something that you can't afford. And I'm speaking to myself first and foremost. It says verse 7, purge out therefore the old leaven, that ye may be a new lump, as ye are unleavened. For even Hamashiach, our Passover, is sacrificed for us. Exactly, man. Okay? We gotta be a new leaven. We gotta be a new lump, Salakia. Alright? We gotta purge out like this goes hand in hand with let me grab that real quick. Where is that in 2 Corinthians 5? See 2 Corinthians 5 and let's see, I'll jump down to verse 17, verse 15, 16, Salakia. Wherefore henceforth know we, Slakia. Wherefore henceforth know we no man after the flesh. Yea, though we have known Hamashiach after the flesh, yet now henceforth we him no more. It says, therefore if any man be in Hamashiach, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. Exactly, we must be a new creature unto Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. All right. Real quick, there's another one. Um, Here it is. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 22. That ye put off concerning the former conversation the old man, which is corrupt according to the deceitful lust. Exactly. You see, because the old man who you were in the old, who you were before, a nigga in the world, okay, and I'm speaking to myself. You can't have conversations like that, all right, within yourself, man. That's something that you gotta constantly check, constantly ask yourself, do I still have the same mindset even slightly, do I still even slightly resemble any bit of my old self? And if the answer is yes, you gotta do whatever it takes to constantly purge that shit out, man. All right. uh, Quick testimony. I was coming home one day after camp. All right, and I live with my pops, and he was doing a little party or whatever. I was just gonna head to my room, but one of my cousins stopped me. All right, and he says I hadn't seen him for a little bit, and he says, "Hey man, something's different about you." And I said, "Yeah." I I knew what he was talking about. He was talking about my spirit, but I just said it might be the hair, man. Just to get him off my back so I can go home or so I can go to my room slot. And he said, "Maybe, but something's different about you." And then I just went on my way. But that should show you, man, that people who used to know you, they should notice something different about you. And I didn't even say anything. I didn't even say anything to him. He just came up to me and said, "There's something different about you, bro." You know? And yeah, we put on our Clark Kent. You know, that's something that's necessary. Okay, you got to put on your Clark Kent or whatever. But at the end of the day, you know you're not attached to any of this bullshit. You see? It says, verse 23, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind, exactly the way you think. All right? The way you think in your mind, man. Are you still thinking of even slightly on how you used to think? All right, the old man, the old me was thinking about how to fuck someone's girl as a get back, how to do this, how can I do this? How can I steal this dude's chick? How can I, just a bunch of wickedness, man. You know? Now we don't think like that. When someone does you wrong, even though it's hard, you bite down on the mouthpiece and you pray to Yahweh Shem Shai to take care of it. And that's how it should be on all things, man. All right, it says, and that ye put on the new man, which after the Most High is created in righteousness and true holiness. Exactly. We got to put on the things of the heavens. All right, that armor of the heavens. All right, with the faith, the courage, the strength, the integrity. You see? And integrity is something within you. It has to be deep within you. You have to have true, righteous integrity so that when the cameras is off and there's no one watching, you're still doing the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. You're still thinking about Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. It ain't just a fucking thing you do when the cameras is rolling and when you're around brothers. No, it's a constant thing, man. Constantly thinking about the Lord. Is you really doing that? Or is you only really thinking about the Lord when you're around brothers, man? You gotta fucking examine yourself, man. Cause this thing is deadly serious. The Lord can do so many things to you, bro. It's not funny, man. The Lord can do so many things to you. The Lord is terrifying. That's why, uh, uh, uh what is that? I believe, the heathen call him Alashadya. Terrible demon-like power, man. You see? That's a terrifying name. That's a terrifying name. That's the title. The King of Terrors, man. You don't know who you fucking with, man. That's your Yahweh Shimmy Awashai, man. Alright? You look at these scientists are so scared about science. Who created science, man? That's the Lord, man. You see? And scientists ain't shit either, man. You scared about a man who, well, what can the Lord do to that man? Eternal torture, man. How about that? What's scarier, dying a fast death or eternal torture? And I'm not talking about hell, okay? I'm not talking about hell. I'm talking about them nukes. When the Lord could have him so that he's tortured throughout the whole time until he's reborn. That's terrifying. You see? Now I'm gonna end it off on here on Psalms 51. I'll start at verse 7. Purge me with the hyssop, and I shall be clean. Wash me, and I shall be whiter than snow. Slakia. That means pure. Alright? It doesn't mean his skin. It means pure. Because white means pure. It says, make me to hear joy and gladness, that the bones which thou hast broken may rejoice. Hide thy face from my sins, and blot out all my iniquities. And this is a prayer that we should be asking the Lord daily to forgive us of our faults every day. That's why it's very important that you say the Lord's Prayer, all right, and the Hebrew. Okay, it'd be best you do it in the Hebrew. All right, and if you don't know it by memory, do what I do. Write it down, all right, and read it for a period of time. Eventually, it'll start sticking to you. Eventually, you'll be able to go through half of it through your memory. All right, and eventually, you'll be able to go through the whole thing. You see, it says, create in me a clean heart or mind, O Yahweh, and renew a right spirit within me. Cast me not away from thy presence, and take not thy Holy Spirit from me. And that's what we should constantly ask to the Lord every day, to not take your Holy Spirit from us. Baba Gashah, Lord. You see? Keep us from the hour of temptation. All right? Examine yourself. Do the things that are necessary. It says, restore unto me the joy of thy salvation, and uphold me with thy free spirit. Then will I teach transgressors thy ways, and sinners shall be converted unto thee. Deliver me from blood guiltiness, O Yahweh, thou Yahweh, power of my salvation, and my tongue shall sing aloud of thy righteousness. O Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, open thou my lips, and my mouth shall shew forth thy praise. All right, and that's King David, man, the greatest warrior who ever walked the earth. He killed of tens of thousands, man. These military niggas ain't shit compared to our king, man. That's King David. He was jumping over gates, man, jumping over things and straight killing people. All right, what did he do when he went to go retrieve his wives? You see? All right, a matter of fact, oh man, I believe this is Psalms 118. This is the book of Psalms 118. All right, and this is the mindset that we must have, man. This is the type of confidence and level of self-examination to know that the Lord is dealing with you. That's what self-examination does, man. It tells you, it shows you, it proves to yourself that the Lord is dealing with you. That is what's important about self-examination, so that you can have the confidence that King David had. That's why King David was so confident. All that self-examining that he did, man. All of that self-examining led him to his confidence. You see, King David was a very, very spiritual individual, man. You see, he was able to play the harp, man. You know? So, Psalms 118 and I'll start at verse 8. It is better to trust in the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, than to put confidence in man. It is better to trust in the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, than to put confidence in princes. You see? Because the Lord was that confident in the Lord, that the Lord was dealing with him. You know? That the Lord was dealing with him. That's why whenever he was in trouble, he didn't go do no fuck shit, man. Whenever he was in trouble, what did he do? He prayed to the Lord. He asked the Lord to help him out. That's the confidence that we must have. That's the level of self-examination that we must do, to the point where we know that the Lord is dealing with us, man. There should be no fucking excuse in that day that your confidence isn't at an all-time high. There should be no fucking excuse that your confidence isn't at an all-time high now. Every day, confidence should be building and building, man. You see? Because otherwise, you're doing all this shit in vain. You're doing none of it in sincerity if you're not 100% confident that you can be one of those men. All right? And I say that humbly, man. Because we understand that the Lord gave this to us. And we did nothing to deserve it, man. It says Psalms 118 and verse 10. All nations compass me about, but in the name of the Lord Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, will I destroy them. They compass me about, yea, they compassed me about, but in the name of the Lord Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, I will destroy them. They compass me about like bees. They are quenched as the fire of thorns. For the name of the Lord Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, I will destroy them. He said, I will destroy them. He knew that for a fact, man. He knew that for a fact. Alright? And that's the same level of confidence we must have if you want to be at that house of David. That the Lord is dealing with you, man. The Lord called you into this thing for a reason. Alright? And within that confidence and within all that examination you become a lot more peaceful, man. That's why you don't fear any of this shit no more. That's why you don't fear men no more. Because you're so confident that the Lord is able to deliver you from everything that you don't fear men no more. You see? Lord willing was edifying. Lord willing someone got something out of this. To close out, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Chakurash. Double honor to my elders and apostles of the great millstone who rule and teach you all. Peace, blessings, salutations unto the hopeful elect. Wa'akwa. Hey, with that I say, Shalom.